We are live, and the Celtics are dead. Josue Pavon, Jimmy Toscano here. John Zannis will be joining us very shortly. He is boomering right now with his computer, trying to figure out, I think, how to turn it on.
You know what,
As soon as
Jimmy? These things happen. All right.
Josue knows, Josue Josue's been on the phone with the Geek Squad many, many times in his life, so he understands what John's going through. But he'll get on with us as
unlike
soon as possible.
yeah,
We
unlike
have
the
Bobby.
Celtics, I got a little winning streak going. Unlike the
Yeah, the
Celtics.
Celtics have now a two-game losing streak after falling 98-95 to the Miami Heat. They were on the wrong side of a 15-0 run in the fourth quarter, Joe Sway,
Oof,
and
brutal.
unfortunately could not snap out of that funk in time to come back in this one. Just a really disappointing fourth quarter. I mean, we're going to get into it. We're going to start at the end because I think that's what everybody's hot on right now, as they should be. And it's too
Yeah,
bad because this was kind of a good. This was a good game. This was a good performance by a couple of guys, at least. Heading into that final stretch, but the story tonight is a collapse here and just a breakdown from player or coaching on down to the players. I don't even know who. If you want to play blame pie here, we can. And we do have Bobby Manning in Miami. We have South Beach Bobby tonight, who will hopefully be joining us momentarily or at some point in the show. We'll get Bobby on. He certainly has a lot of questions to ask or to be a part of in the locker room or in the post game.
Hey, Jimmy, should we guess how dramatic he's going to be about this loss? Like,
This was
you go
just.
the whole be on us 180? We'll see. We'll see.
I think in true Bobby form, if he's going to overreact after a win, he has to overreact after a loss. So I'm going to hope he comes out guns blazing.
Well, he's going to go with the
But
trade thing. He's going. I'm going to put my money on. What's the line to say? They have to make a trade. It's out of at this point.
yeah,
Like, that's what he's going to
yeah.
say. That's my guess.
Well, he might not be wrong. I mean, let's get into it here a little bit. So,
Yeah, yeah. We'll talk
Celtics
about that later.
Celtics have they have control of this game. In that fourth quarter, they just go completely cold. Bam Adebayo's running all over the place. He finishes with 30 points and 15 rebounds,
Balled out.
and including that big jump shot there that gave them the lead with 20 seconds left. And what do the Celtics do? They inbound the ball, and Missoula says, "Do your thing," right? That's kind of what Joe's kind of known for now, right? Putting the players in
Yeah.
position to sort of make the call, and you know he's putting his trust in the players. So at 20 seconds left, Tatum
Right.
gets the ball, dribbles it up the court, dribbles it. Double team comes his way. He has no choice but to get rid of the ball at that point and tries a cross court pass, and not even close to connecting on that pass. Easy turnover, and they exchange free throws, and that essentially cost them the game right there. Josue, I need your immediate reactions, thoughts, comments, questions, concerns on not calling a timeout in that situation.
Yeah, that's a mistake. That's a mistake. If you have 20 seconds, you have to get better. And by the 10 mark, 9 second, you have an idea where the possession is going, and it's not in your favor. So I thought Josue he should have called time in that situation, or at least one of the players. I mean, it almost looked like they didn't know that they were down. It was a really odd, just like from their just body language, and like they were. So I just think that was a mistake. You have to call time on that situation, especially when the momentum isn't on your side. You're on the road. That was just tough. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just think that this is something that we've talked about all season long is the fact that Missoula wants to hold on to his timeouts and wants to allow the players to sort of do their thing out there, and I just think it came back to bite them. I just think that this was another. If you have a question about this team, I think it's about the mental fortitude. It's not skill. We know where their skill is, but go into these lapses at certain points during these games, and it's just you wonder if there's a problem with, if there's some sort of disconnect between the coaching and the players out there during the game, if the players just can't be on the same page. How does it get to the point where it's 15 straight points in the most important part of the game, where you can't get a defensive stop or you can't get a basket, just complete sort of breakdown of any sort of style of basketball that this team's known to play. And Josue is gone. This is what happens, guys. We get technical difficulties left and right. Let's see if I can get Josue back on here.
Yo.
Josue, give you another shot. This connection is... Are you there, dude?
You got me? Yeah. Am I good now? Sorry about it.
Dude, you're not good. You're not great. You're definitely not great. I'll tell you that.
All right, what about now?
This is vintage Brockton Wi-Fi Josue right now.
Yo, I shouldn't have said anything. I jinxed it.
You did jinx it. We're gonna do our best, guys, to keep the podcast going here. John's
Okay, I feel better now.
John's planning on joining us. He's trying to work out his computer issues. Josue is above water currently.
I'm here.
So Josue is treading water right now. We're gonna keep him as long as we can. Bobby is in South Beach. Will be joining us, and I am here holding it down as best as I can. Josue, what else stood out to you in this one? I mean, we talked about the time out there. I don't know how much of it you could hear. I don't know if can you hear me well over there?
Yeah, I got you. You got me?
Yeah, I got you. You are choppy. You are. But that's okay. We're gonna fight through it here. Take me through the first half, though, Josue. I mean, it wasn't, this was a game that it looked like, Derek White comes out strong to start things off. I thought he was, one of their most active guys, at least through that first half. Tatum was pretty much doing whatever he wanted out there at points, too. But again, if you go back to the game a couple games ago where Tatum had 3 costly turnovers in the last couple minutes there, and they still, were able to pull it off in overtime. And then tonight with the costly turnover, I'm wondering if he's trying to do too much. And at the same time, I want him to be the guy, obviously. I mean, he's your MVP. He's going to take you as far as you can go. But is he trying to do too much with the guys that are out there around him in certain situations? Again, this was a game, there's a lot of Pritchard late in the game. You had Grant hit a big 3, so you got to give credit to Grant. But I think, he's been somebody who's been... Is this John Zannis? Is this actually him? Does he have audio?
He's back.
No,
he's working on it. I think he's doing that. I knew it.
Something, Jaylen Brown. Have we gotten to bash Jaylen yet or no?
We haven't mentioned Jaylen. We've to be honest, John, I blacked out the first 8 minutes of this show. I don't know. Josue was in and out. We're going all over the place, but
it looks bad right now. What I'm walking into feels wrong, feels bad. But
it is bad.
We can turn this ship around, right?
We look like a bunch of. To be honest, we look like the Boston Celtics in the fourth quarter tonight. Is what we look like. Like the performance is carried over to the podcast.
So you guys like the Celtics didn't score a point for like 8 minutes. You guys didn't make it. You guys didn't make any points for like the first 8 minutes.
We tried to get into the lack of timeouts on the final play of the game. We briefly talked about just the collapse in general, but no, I would say that we've been sort of a little bit all over herky-jerky here to start things off.
Okay, ready? So, here we go. Here's what we're going to talk about. What are we going to talk about? First of all,
we're going to start at the end. We have to start at the end of this game.
I'm going to start all over. Well, here's the thing. I'm not doing this to be contrarian. The Golden State game, I hated every single minute of it except for the fact that they won. I liked a lot about this game. I really did. Like, I liked the fact, they're down 4 freaking of their, 7 or 8 best players. That's even Miami without Butler. This game is an absolute L. There's no way you win this game, right? And they were winning it for most of it. You got good stuff. You got a great Derek White game. Tatum was perfect. He was patient for the first 3 quarters. He didn't force anything. He was aggressive. He got to the line. He found teammates. He was literally doing everything. It was a great Tatum game. Hauser couldn't shoot at all, but made great plays on defense. Rob came up big. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but I liked it. Like, this was a great game. They're up 10 in the fourth quarter, down half their team, and then they just completely powered down. So it is really hard to like it is the exact opposite of the Golden State game for me. I was feeling good vibes for 3.5 quarters, and then just boom. I mean, 5 points through 9 minutes of the fourth quarter, total freaking shutdown. And that was it, man. Ball game. I mean, and you knew you were playing with house money, right? How many lineups were you going to run out there with, when Tatum wasn't on the floor and be able to get a bucket? When he came back in the game, they just couldn't get it going again there. Lights out. It was ugly. So the whole team frigging shut down. It's easy to point at like the one Tatum. Yeah, the Tatum pass at the end was a disaster.
Team shut down. Yeah, I mean, that
but
was the end.
They shut down. They shut down.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
so it's hard, right? It's
Yeah,
hard to like get
Miami,
mad. Yeah.
It's not hard to get mad. You know why? You know why it's hard to get mad when you see the players laughing at the end of the game. When they're laughing at when Jason Tatum throws a game-losing turnover and he's shooting this shit with Bam Adebayo after the game. So yeah, it is kind of hard to get mad.
I do hate
These guys aren't mad. They don't freaking care apparently. Joking it up. It's a big fun. It's fun in games, I guess. That's all it is. So why do we care? Why do we do the show and get upset and criticize guys when, I mean, you just blew the game, buddy. What are you laughing about? Go back into the locker room and be sad for a couple minutes.
This is Jason Tatum post-game comment. We threw it away. We threw it away.
We threw it. Well, you just said. I mean,
you hate
in the
that.
15-0 run.
This Tatum knows me. I do hate that, and I do hate the smiling after the game. I really do. I hate all of that stuff. Like, save it for after. The cameras are rolling. Don't go in there and yuck it up with Bam after you just lost the game. You guys blew a lead, and you threw a shit pass.
You just
to turn
blew
it
a
over.
15. Yeah, like you went.
Yeah, I think
it's always a bad look.
Wrong end of a 15-0 run, like
because
this
of
is a winnable game.
The way it ended. Yeah, right. I mean, the way it ended.
Yeah,
I mean,
but I've been madder. That's the point. I'm not just going against the grain here. I really was positive about a lot of what they did tonight.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier.
Shorthanded on the second night of a back-to-back. I liked so much of what they were doing, and I thought it was a great big boy Tatum game to instead of I'm going to score 70 tonight because it's the only way we can win, which could have been an approach he took. They were throwing 2 guys at him all game long. It was literally like a youth league game where the other team only has one good player and the coach basically just plays, just chase that guy around, box in one, whatever it is. The entire defense moves towards the one player and you leave everybody else alone. They basically did that all game long, and Tatum still found a way to get to the line, to score, to get into the paint, to kick the ball out to shooters. I thought it was really impressive, and then it just all went to shit. So that's why it's hard to get mad. Like, it sucked at the end, but it was going well, and then they just turned into pumpkins.
Yeah, dude, it's the whole game. You don't just play well for 36 minutes.
I'm with you.
Who the hell are you? What happened to you? Is this you?
I'm just saying.
Weird hologram?
I wasn't mad for. It's the flip of Golden State. I came in after Golden State that sucked, because it sucked. I thought they sucked all game long. I actually thought they did. I thought it was a decent game. I really did.
I agree with you. The first half, again, I thought Derek White did a lot of good things. You had some good shot. I mean, this is the guy that,
People want me to be more negative. This is weird.
Well, no. I mean, you're not really negative tonight on a game where they blew the game. So it's kind of weird. I mean, I thought Tatum had a good game leading up till the second half of the fourth quarter. So you're talking basically 2 different games. You want to talk about the game up until they blew it? Fine. Go ahead. We can talk about that. Let's go. Let me go get my green pom-poms first. At the end of the day, they lost to a team. They lost to a team, a Heat team that, by the way, John, they were shorthanded too. I don't know if you heard. Mr. Jimmy Butler didn't play. So
yeah, 1 guy versus 4 guys.
Duncan Robinson didn't play either.
Well, 4 main guys. Well, I guess
Haslam didn't play either.
Duncan Robinson did everything he could to play. He sat
Listen,
there.
I know.
And he sat there and he looked at the coach with his droopy eyes.
We know they're short, John. We know they're shorthanded. We get that, right? And when you're going into the game, you can use that. But even shorthanded, they were in a position to win this game. So at that point, it doesn't really matter that you're shorthanded. Win the game. So you kind of throw all that stuff out the window when you're in the fourth quarter.
I'm not saying it was good. I'm just saying I'm not. I'm saying I'm not mad. I can find 85,000 things to complain about tonight. Absolutely. I just didn't come in ornery. That's all.
Fine. I mean, I'm with you in the sense where, listen, I mean, they're without.
I mean, when you think
four guys that are going to be contributing.
It's the fit.
I'm not ornery. Yeah.
Like that sticks out.
It was gross.
I have a sour taste in my mouth from the ending.
And you should. And look, and here's the thing. This is the disconcerting part. If you're gonna get into, what does it mean? What does it matter? A game when you're missing four guys, is going to be difficult to win. And eventually, I thought they were playing with house money. They weren't going to get it. But here's the thing. You put guys. Here's the thing. I'll take away. You put guys into positions where they have an opportunity, and we'll bring in Sherrod and we'll check. Sherrod, everyone's mad at me because I'm not mad. Everyone's mad at me because I'm not mad enough. So my point is this:
you're not mad because you're just not mad at all.
They're mad at you because you're not upset that they lost without Smart, without Jalen.
Oh my God, you guys are.
I'm calling it how I see it. I'm not as mad as you want me to be. You want me to leave and come back? I'll leave and come back. Hold on, I'll leave and come back.
Could have been a 30-0 run. Doesn't matter, right? Same thing.
You know what, John? Don't come back.
Not once have you ever made that face. This show. Not once.
I'm so mad. John smash.
All right, then throw the party.
John angry at Celtics.
So this is a good loss. Angry. All right, so this is a good loss.
There's no such thing as a good loss.
It sounds like there is.
No, it's a loss. You're 35-14. You got the best record in the NBA. You lose a game without four of your top 6, 7 players against a Miami Heat team that, if we're being honest and keeping it real, they needed this a hell of a lot more than you did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I mean, this is Jimmy. This is the way this game felt as though the Celtics were doing everything they could for like 3+ quarters, and then when they just ran out of steam. And part of the problem, and I hate to bring this up because it's hard not to though, but Joe Mazzulla in the timeouts.
Thank you.
Yes. No, this one you can file underneath that.
That's what I tried to lead the show with, but
I hate to go there because I hate to go there. But it's hard not to go there when you watch this game, And Tatum, Tatum did exactly what players in this position do. When you got the ball, you look over to that sideline and say, "Am I coming to the bench or am I going to bring this ball up?"
Right.
And it seemed that Tatum, I was disappointed in Joe and Jason. Joe because he didn't call a timeout. Tatum because he walked the damn ball up when there was no timeout.
And then dribbled into a double team.
Yeah. Well, he dribbled into a double team, and the guy he should have swung the ball to
was standing right there.
The guy who's open, the guy who's double teaming you. There's a guy that he's supposed to be defending. That's the guy that's open. Miami wasn't doing anything. Miami stayed at home on all their guys except for the double team. And to me, the basic basketball play, swing to the guy that's wide open. That would have been Derek White.
Yeah,
who was playing well.
Rod, a part of me feel like they didn't, maybe not Tatum. I mean, maybe it was just Tatum, but I don't know. It felt like it looked like they thought the game was tight. Like their body language looked like they're waiting for Tatum to just do his ISO play. Wait a minute, or I don't know. Maybe if that was the case, if Tatum's going to go into his ISO and that was his mindset at that point, you got to go into it sooner. And if not, in your mind was 8, 7 seconds. Joe's got to call that and say, wait a minute, that's not bad. You know what I mean?
That was just a horrific. That was just a horrific way to end the game in terms of clock management. I mean, sideline I thought did a bad job. Tatum and the players I thought did a bad job. It was just as bad as you can do in that situation without turning the ball over, which ultimately they did. Tatum has got to be better than that. Joe Mazzulla has got to be better than that. And I've said this before, and I'm not going to budge off of this until I see something different. He has to get a better pulse for when to interject himself and be very coach-like, and when to let the players figure it out. He still, I don't think, has a good pulse for this team in that regard.
Thank
Now,
you.
and again,
This guy.
if that's the biggest flaw he has as a coach at this point in his still young career, he's doing a pretty damn good job. But the problem is it's a consistent flaw that doesn't seem like there's progress made in that regard. So
Well,
Let me
yeah.
say something. Let me
Yeah.
say something.
Yes, you say it.
So maybe you guys can see where I'm coming from. Maybe I can get it through to some of you guys, some of you older men out there that can't seem to get it through your thick skulls. What I'm trying to say.
oh wow,
okay?
did Jimmy just pull the age card on us? Oh shit.
I
Okay.
didn't-
He pulled the skull card on us. Yeah,
Damn,
I didn't say the B word.
okay.
I didn't say the B word.
I don't mind it.
Boomer. Okay.
Wow.
Hear me out.
I lean
If you
into my
told me-
boominess,
if you-
okay?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
John. It took you 20 minutes to turn your computer on. If you told me that the Celtics, I didn't see the game, right? Let's just say I didn't see it, or you told me before the game that the Celtics were going to lose by 3 with the roster that they played with tonight, I'd say, you know what? That sounds right. But then if you tell me they were competitive all game, they were most of the game, and they had a 10-point lead with 8 minutes left, and then they gave up. Then they gave a 15-0 run up, and then Tatum turned the ball, and then they didn't call a timeout on the final play, and Tatum turned the ball over. Yeah, I'm going to be mad at how this game ended up. So, yeah, I understand that they were without Brown and Horford and Brogdon and all those guys, but they still blew this game. I don't care who's out there. They blew the game against a team that they've had trouble with. Let's be honest. They've had a lot of trouble with over the years. They did beat the Heat last year in the playoffs, but it took 7 games, and the Heat knocked them
By
out
an inch.
prior to that. So this is
So
a
you're-
team that has given them trouble. They had them right where they wanted them, and they blew it without, by the way, the Heat's best player too, who is the Celtics killer to begin with. So this was a very winnable game, and so was the game against Orlando. So you guys can
Sherrod just gave you the
laugh it
Sherrod
off all
shrug.
you want and act like it doesn't matter, but these are games that they should be winning.
It's not
Jimmy-
matter.
Jimmy,
I'm just not mad. You just want me to be madder.
Jimmy, I will.
The
I
one
will
time I
give,
want you to be mad.
Jimmy, I will give you the point that you make about Jimmy Butler not having him is a significant blow. There's no question about it. But I will refuse to put Jimmy on the same scale and call it equal with Jaylen Brown,
It's
Al
not equal.
Horford. It's not. Miami clearly had more of their usual weapons to work with than Boston. Now, does that mean that the Miami should have won the game? No, the Celtics. Jimmy, I will agree with you that this was a game that the Celtics should have won. Based upon how they played for the most part.
I'll
But
take
they
that.
didn't. And I'm not going to freak out about them losing a game that they should have won because this Miami team, I would be more freaked out if this was a team that I might see near the end of the road come playoff time. If you lose like this to a team like Milwaukee, and you say, well, Milwaukee's a good team. Yeah, but there's a psychological tilt that happens when you lose to really good teams in this spanner. But if it's a team that you know is kind of trash, that's probably not going to be in the top 3, top 4, that you might see at some point, but they're not going to. You're going to have your team whole, and they're probably going to have theirs, and you should win that. I'm not going to freak out about this. I'm disappointed, Jimmy, that they lost this game, and I think anyone who watched
I'm
this
not
team
freaking out.
should be disappointed. But I'm not dejected. I'm not going to get all. My blood pressure is not going to jolt a couple 100 points because they got their asses beat by a Miami Heat team that they should have beat. No, I'm not going to.
No.
But
I mean,
what
I don't care either.
I'm bothered more than anything else by the way Joe Mazzulla did not use timeouts in this game, more so than I usually am, because usually I just got to brush it off. It's not that big a deal. This was a game where his inability to recognize when to just shut it down, get those guys over there and call something, it factored heavily in the outcome. Because because think about it, Tatum's turnover probably doesn't happen if the
definitely
timeout
doesn't
is
happen.
called before that, and they get
Yes.
something.
Yeah,
together.
That
that's
bothers
true,
me
but they
more-
both get it.
more
They
than
both people
Joe-
share the blame pie there, though. Sorry.
More than
What's
Joe not calling it during the 15-0 run and not having a feel, not calling it when Tatum had nothing on that possession,
Right.
nothing. That's
They
where you
both
got to
get
be like,
it.
you got to see that and be like, I hate
Right.
where this is going.
Right.
You could see when Tatum was dribbling and the
He-
and the second body came and he was moving
Done.
further out. No
You got like
players came
7
to
seconds
him.
to make that decision.
Nobody
Right.
was open. That was I was screaming. So yes, that one is bad. And you do look. you're definitely afraid that Missoula is going to, like, that's what's all fine and good in the regular season. I think there's a lot of justified concern about how Joe's going to kind of stack up in the playoffs. I guess the one thing I'll say on the plus side there, it actually is probably good for him to eat shit a few times like this, go home and think about it and be like, I got to be better than that, man. Like, enough of the let them figure it out. Like, you are the coach. It's your job to feel it and to feel it out there. So there's that. There's adjustments. When the teams change up on you, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to stave off of a scoreless drought of 6 minutes? You've got to get involved in some way and change it up a little bit. That's what you do. They adjust, you adjust. You sense when things aren't going great, you jump in there. So he's got to be better at that. There's no question. But that's a continued problem, right? Like, that's a thing that we've seen. He's got to get better. Will he? I have no idea. Everyone who's mad about that has every right to be annoyed as shit. You have a 10, 12-point lead in the fourth quarter. It's not the first time. It's a recurring issue there. And he's got to snap out of it a little bit. And you know what? You know where he's not doing himself favors? You don't get to be Bill Belichick in the media in your first year as an interim coach.
Preach.
You can't do what he's doing because he's going to get it. He's going to lose that. Look, yes, we're a bunch of petty jerks in the media. And we like it when you tell us we're pretty. And when we ask you questions to be looked in the eye and to have those questions answered. And when you don't do that, people are going to start to buck a little bit. And Joe hasn't done enough to get the benefit of the doubt from the people who are going to be talking to him and about what's going on. And that stuff's going to turn on him a little bit quickly. He might want to be a little more make nice to kind of ease his path into this, into this coaching thing here, because you're not perfect. Your shit does stink. Like, you've got to take some lumps along the way. You got to show a little bit of humility. I think that's hurting him a little bit right now too.
Well, a little bit of humility and a little bit more humor about the damn timeout things. I mean, it's to the point where it's the running joke that everyone gets except Joe. This is a flaw. You should have fun with this. You should try to temper it down a little bit by just having some fun with it. And you should
just call a timeout.
Well, Jimmy,
maybe that's a better idea.
You know what's great?
Instead of joking about not calling any,
if I don't start the show ornery, Jimmy's ornery goes up by like 4 points. He's got to offset it. He's got to find it.
I'll be honest, Sherrod. If Joe Missoula starts joking about not calling timeouts after losses, I think that's worse than.
See, that's the thing. You can only do it after you win. You could only do it after wins, because then it's like, but you
But
won.
he did a backflip prior to the game.
Yeah,
that's got to count for something.
What is that all about? People are texting me about that. Like, that's not normal coaching behavior, is it?
Not calling timeouts is an example. But a 15-0 run isn't normal behavior either. But what the hell do we know? I don't know what's man. It's just frustrating that there's a clear flaw and there doesn't seem to be effort to get better. I mean, it's like a guy who shoots 25% from 3-point range, and you watch him shoot and you see there's a flaw in the mechanics, and he just keeps shooting without addressing or adapting his mechanics at all.
You know who it reminds me of? I hate to say this.
You're going to say it anyway.
Who's the one player that everyone's begging to do the one thing that he just refuses to do? Ben Simmons.
I don't know, man. You got to stump.
Ben Simmons.
Okay.
A player to shooting is a coaching to timeouts and drawing up plays.
Totally,
Ben Simmons, shoot the damn ball. You're
really
supposed to be
one.
one of the best freaking athletic guys in the league, but you refuse to shoot the ball. Everyone's screaming at him to shoot the ball. Hey, Joe Missoula, call a timeout. Your team just gave up 10 straight points. Your team just gave up 15 straight points. You have the final possession in the game. Call a timeout. Please, we beg you. Nope, not going to do it. Simmons not going to take the shot. He's just not going to do it. So
this is a good point, by the way. How many times has letting them figure it out worked?
They haven't had a ton of close games, so it doesn't. It's a stat that's not. You don't have a large sample size. Yeah. Because they win pretty.
They've given up long runs without timeouts.
And it's not. And the thing about the timeouts is it's not just us. I mean, if you watch that broadcast, Scott will mention that at least once. A broadcast with the lack of time, and and again, he's not. We're not talking about something that's just not a big deal. It is a big deal. having the ability to recognize when you have to hit the brakes on your team's play, get their asses on the sideline to regroup is important.
I agree.
No,
If
sorry, it's just
what did Josue do?
Just chatting or something?
No, just the down low battle between Josue and his Wi-Fi tonight has just been relentless.
I said earlier, he's just like treading water right now. He's just
like
head
Tron.
barely
He's
above.
like pixelated. You know.
This is an all-time bad connection show for everybody here.
He's been basically afraid to move for fear that if he like moved his head a little bit, like it would blow up the internet.
I'll be honest, John. We went live, and you were like, "Just go without me." I was like, "All right, just you good?" He's like, "Yeah." I clicked live. We start the stream, and I'm looking at like 32-bit Josue, and I'm like, "Oh God, here we go, here we go." He's like frozen right off the bat, and I'm like, "This is perfect."
Can we just do maybe a screenshot of Josue and just have his audio so that literally his face is here, but there's just
We need to just like what do they have, like the Zoom background where it's just you have it moving.
Exactly.
That would be better.
I love Josue. He's awesome.
Yeah, I wish I could love him a little more. I want him in here. While Josue, deals with some very real situations there. We're gonna take a pause and tell you again about one of our favorite sponsors here at the Garden Report, Athletic Greens. This sponsor means a lot to us. We want you guys to enjoy it as much as we do. Everybody here on the Garden Report is a big AG1 fan. We've been hooked on it since we started with this company late last year. Mm-hmm. It really is terrific for all of you people starting out with this concept of a New Year's health kick, which many people are. This is a great way to get going instead of chasing a bunch of different supplements to try to take care of all of those things you want to take care of, which is boosting your immune system, recovery, gut health. What else, Jimmy? What are you into? What kind of stuff are you into here?
For AG1, I mean, first of all, I stack it. So that's the one thing that I like to do. I stack it with beef organs, so I'm getting the best of all the worlds. But no, I just think it's your all-in-one one-stop shop. Vitamins, minerals, like you said, gut health, probiotics, prebiotics. Down the hatch it goes, man. It's just easy.
Done. That's all you have to do.
If you're like me, you don't want to be cooking vegetables or eating vegetables all day, every day. You don't have to. You just drink it.
Yeah.
One and done.
Exactly. Right. Bobby chases it with like a whole fish.
Better than coffee.
Everybody's different.
Put the coffee away.
Yeah. So it's good. It's great. It's fits with whatever diet you do. It's widely supported, endorsed. Medical professionals, athletes use it. Thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews. You Google it. What's the best supplement? It's going to come up on every top whatever list.
My guy Huberman uses it. Absolute beast.
Do your own research on it, but it is something that if you want to try something like this, I actually think it's a really good idea. But, you judge for yourself. Go in, Google it, do your own research. If you are interested, though, one thing that we would really appreciate and do us a big favor is if you supported our sponsors through us by going to athleticgreens.com/garden. That way they know we sent you. You'll get the free gift of a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs. That's what they're going to send you. What we're going to send you is a phenomenal t-shirt, a Garden Report t-shirt, which we send to everyone who supports any of our sponsors. So again, please do so. Support AG1.
The travel packs are cool. You can actually just order travel packs too.
Yeah.
You don't
Take
have to
control
worry
of your health.
You don't have to worry about making a drink before you leave for work every morning. You can just toss it in the bag. You make it at work if you don't have time. Very easy to just toss them in there.
Go get some. Thank you guys. If you do,
me too.
Yep. Please help us support our sponsors. It really helps us kind of keep the engine running here at the Garden Report. And we need more Wi-Fi better Wi-Fi connections. We need a lot.
So keep.
That's what the super chats are for.
That's true.
But anyway, moving on. One thing I wanted to talk about before, I'm not going to call the Joe stuff low-hanging fruit. It's real. There's no question about it. It's a thing everybody sees and a real source of frustration. And it's a continued thing that's been going on this year. The one thing I wanted to point out that I thought, what does this mean? What does it matter? Is there anything you could take from this game and apply it forward? there's a real friggin' need on this team for a little bit more depth here, because when you put players into positions where they need to contribute and they need to step up, they do occasionally, but they don't do it enough that you're going to be able to have faith in them to use them in real spots. Do you honestly believe that someone like Peyton Pritchard can earn himself minutes in the playoffs? Do you believe that Hauser can earn himself minutes in the playoffs? These are emergency play guys during the regular season when guys are out and not much else. And you're not going to, and again, we've seen Joe go to his playoff rotation team with 8 people, but when you put a guy like Pritchard in the starting lineup and he's just gunning away, that's what you've got. You've got a guy who's undersized, who has a tough time getting his shot off, who when he gets into the paint, he's going to get swallowed by the trees. And that's the reality of Peyton Pritchard. We've had a lot of conversations about him being, I don't know if they can trade him. He's valuable. Look, Peyton Pritchard has some value, and that's deep bench, coming in, maybe get hot, pour in some points, help a second unit offense on occasion. You look at a guy like Grant as well. This is where I keep coming back to Grant Williams. And I know he had a good game a couple of nights ago. I just don't believe Grant Williams is the type of player who can perform against starters and perform against the other team's best players. I think his best role is coming off the bench and getting to play with Jason Tatum in that second unit against other people's second units. And there he can thrive, and there he can do the things that he does. But you see him, he almost disappears. He can't get his shot off, and the Heat are a small friggin' team. He can't do much more than kind of sit in the corner and hit those threes, which are great. And obviously there's some versatility that he has there. But this is another opportunity where, all right, Grant, we need you to be more. All of our guys are out. You got to play tonight, and you got to find a way to get some buckets. And he didn't do that again. So it's kind of disappointing that, those types of things happen. And then you look at a guy like Hauser. I could dog it. He got 26 minutes tonight. He didn't hit a friggin' shot. He scored 0 points. I will say he had two blocks and played fairly well on defense. So he actually did the little things, but you're giving the guy real minutes against real competition. And that's what you've got there. So you have to look in the mirror a little bit and be like, this team's not getting as many contributions from many places as they were early in the year. And you wonder how big an issue that's going to be and whether that's going to change their mindset going into trade deadlines or whatever.
But they're counting on in these last couple of games guys who, and if we're being honest and keeping it real, you're talking about at best maybe your ninth guy, and you're giving them and they have to play the minutes of maybe your sixth or seventh guy.
Totally. And everyone bumps up, it gets worse, right?
Right, it does, and I'm not sure that they can go out and have a team that's that kind of stacked where you got guys who are in that 9th, 10th, 11th spot who are just as good as the guys in the 6th, 7th, and 8th spot. There's a reason why those guys are in the rotation and these other guys aren't. And the more we watch them play, the bigger that reasoning is. I mean, Sam Hauser, I thought Sam had a good game in terms of energy, in terms of effort, but
he hung in there. Yep.
Yeah, but the one thing that he was signed to do, he didn't do. It was like watching Aaron Nesmith all over again, giving me everything but the one thing that you are supposed to be able to deliver, that is supposed to be your strength. I mean, it's like going to, a restaurant that, like a seafood restaurant, and they've got great side dishes and they got great dessert, but the seafood sucks. You're not giving me literally the one thing I came there for. That's the one thing. And Sam, I thought he had one of those kind of games, but the bottom line is Celtics team is a very good 8-9 man rotation type team when everyone's healthy. When they have to start dipping for an extended periods of time in the double-digit portion of the program, that's a problem. They don't have a guy that they can throw in there who can go out there when given an opportunity and give them major minutes. And you can kind of expect them to do that when they get an opportunity. They don't have anyone like that. Not even close.
They do not.
Facts, my dog.
But what are you going to do? Any team down 4 players is going to get pretty ugly with what they bring in there. All I'm saying is those are guys who they're going to be, there's questions surrounding, particularly those two. Pritchard, the conversation is, can you trade him? Should you trade him? Would it be bad to trade him? Like, the conversation's gotten wild regarding Peyton Pritchard. I'm not sure what people think he is. And I don't know what you're going to do with him here.
Well, for me, it comes back to what can I get for him?
That's
I
the
mean,
point.
because you know the role that he's going to play. He's in a case of an emergency kind of player, and it's fine to have those guys at the end of your bench. But is there someone out there who values him more than the Celtics do and is willing to pay the price? Like if someone said, "Hey, Brad, we're going to give you a lottery protected pick for Peyton," you got to think long and hard about that.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna need some assets down the road, and this is a player that, while I think Peyton is a can help a team, I just don't think this team is built in a way that they need his help. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
We
no
talked
doubt about it.
We talked about it on one of the shows. Maybe it was last night. I forget. But he if they do trade him, or if he does end up on another team, he is going to be one of those guys that we're going to be talking about, being like, man, wait, why'd they trade him? Because he just needs a bigger role. I think he's proven that he can contribute to an NBA team, certainly in a reserve role. We know he can score in bunches. I think obviously his size is a bit of a disadvantage, but he can definitely help a team, and I think that's why he might be a guy that other teams might be interested in, because they might have a bigger role for him as sort of maybe an instant offense off the bench. But he's buried on this roster, when everyone's healthy. I mean, obviously that wasn't the case tonight. But that's not going to really ever be his role in a normal situation. He can come in off the bench and contribute in when you need scoring quick. Then the guy could probably score 8 points in a minute if he got the ball.
Yeah, and in the games that I've been to at home this month, and I typically sit in a section with all the scouts, and Peyton Pritchard is the one guy every single one of them has asked me about. He's the one guy, and their questions are along the lines of, what do you think he could do if he had a larger role? And then my question is like, well, you think he can play? And they're like, well, we know he can play. It's just, can he play a larger role for a team if given that opportunity? And that's the question that teams are trying to get an answer to, because the answer to that question will determine what they're willing to give the Celtics in return for him. And I think that's what for Brad. I think Brad has an idea of what it would take to part ways with Peyton Pritchard. I do think he has an idea, and I don't believe anyone at this point is willing to part with that type of asset or assets for Peyton. And it doesn't have anything to do with their confidence in his ability. It's, can he be consistent with what he does well to a level that makes parting ways with a lottery protected first round pick worth it? And again, I think the jury is still out on that. And there, when you look at the way he played tonight, and you look at how he played last night, he looked good. I thought he looked, for the most part, he looked pretty good. But can you get that with some type of consistency? Can he be a 10-point, 4-rebound, 4-assist guy if he's given 25 minutes a night?
Maybe.
Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not. Well, you tell us. What are you telling these scouts? Is he getting traded or what?
Well,
I guess we'll know it. I guess we'll know based on what Sherrod tells you guys.
But the fact is that there's interest in him. I mean, and I think that was one of the questions that we had, that it wasn't clear if teams are sending scouts to these Celtics games, in part not only to scout the Celtics, but scout specific players that their organization might have some interest in and trading for. And Peyton is a guy that I do think the Celtics are going to get some offers for him between now and trade deadline that they're going to have to think about. But I think there's a very specific type of offer that will move the needle in Brad's mind, that will make parting ways with Peyton something that they can be comfortable with because of that type of asset that they'll get in return.
Yeah, people get really weirdly attached to shit. Like weirdly attached to stuff, and then those same people will absolutely love whatever the return is once you get it. So
they'll hate the guy when he comes back,
and they'll be like, that was the so just guys, know thyself, know that you're gonna end up loving the move, and
the biblical John,
and get to that point. Okay, whatever Brad does, you're gonna like it. Okay, and you're gonna be like, Brad, chess and checkers, that's what you're gonna think. So just get there.
Yeah. I mean, if let's say they move Peyton and he goes to he gets traded for Cam Reddish, who has not really done a whole lot in this league. They're gonna love that deal because they're gonna point to his length, his athleticism. He's young, he's a Dookie, and all that other stuff. When 3 weeks later they're thinking he's trash. He was trash 3 weeks ago. Now he's like, the best thing move. And the same thing with Peyton. We love him, we love him, we love him. The minute he was traded, oh, he wasn't that good anyway.
Yeah.
It's insane. Peyton Pritchard is a good player. I'm going to say it right now. He is a good NBA player. Is he a rotation guy? I don't know about that. Can he be a rotation guy with the right team? Absolutely. And that is the challenge that is out there with him. Can you find a team that has a legitimate role for him and is willing to give the Celtics something real in return? And to me, a lottery protected first round pick is real. That's an attention grabber. If
That
you could
is
get something.
real.
Yeah, that's when it becomes real. But if you're talking about, we'll give you a couple of second round picks for Peyton, please. I'd rather keep it in case of an emergency.
They've got a lot of
blast
those. Okay.
Yeah. So
they have as many second round picks as we have phenomenal T-shirts. Okay, we're just giving those things away. Like, you don't need to worry about it. All right. It's just like, sure, I'll give you one of these. Jimmy, no, we lost you. Your audio, nothing.
My bad, I muted myself. No, we're good.
Yeah.
I said, you get one.
You get one. Here's a second round pick. Phenomenal. Look at Josue's frozen in the bottom left of his screen now, trying to get in.
Dude, I'm telling you, he's struggling so badly.
He's lost. Anyone see Frozen too?
So John, like I was saying,
lost
like
in the woods.
we have like the Wi-Fi bars that show, like all of ours say 10 of 10. His literally says 0 of 10. He doesn't even give him a 1, dude.
His doesn't even have a marking. It's just a sad face,
Yeah.
It doesn't have bars. It just puts up one of those crinkly face emojis,
Yeah. Oh man.
Josue.
You gotta pay your Wi-Fi bills. You gotta pay your Comcast bills, everybody.
Yeah.
You can't be stealing other people's. That's what it comes down to.
Right. It's just running it,
It's going to catch up to you.
Through Windows. Anyway, Bobby Manning is in Miami. He's going to join the show in just a little bit. We will get Bobby's take, and we'll eventually move along because we got a couple more games this week, and it gets fun and it gets interesting. Thursday, that you have
the
Knicks, which is fun. And
New York's fun to play in.
Yeah. And then the Lakers. And the Lakers are an absolute weird team.
They're starting to get interesting.
Are they?
They're strangely interesting.
Yeah. Before, they weren't that interesting because they totally suck. But now they're just not very good. They're just not very good, which is interesting. They have moments where they can be really good. But for the most part, they're still...
They're 22-25. They're 6-4 in their last 10, and they're on a 2-game winning streak. But they have LeBron, they have Russ. I mean, those are, as long as they have those guys, they're going to be interesting, obviously.
The sad part is they're still not in the playing game yet.
No, they're not. Not yet.
What's going to be great?
Ahead of them.
What's going to be great when Bobby gets in here is
that I leave.
No, is how much he hates Miami and how vexed he's going to be over this loss, because as much as he irrationally loves Toronto, he that much irrationally hates Miami. It's
Why is that?
He just has no respect for them. It's weird.
That is weird.
It's been that case for a few years.
It is. What's weird is in the bubble we had no respect for them, Jimmy, and we thought they would win. And Bobby's like, they're good, and then he completely flipped the script on Miami, and he hates them. They are a weird lineup. They're weird. They don't have a lot of size. It's a strange lineup. And